Hey, all Andy here, helping you build a career you love. It's Community Appreciation Week this week, if you didn't know. It's Wednesday, October 25th. Not my usual day I'm live during the week, but since it's Community Appreciation Week, we got a lot going on. We decided to make sure we got some live talking in to help you build your career. So get in the chat, say hi, put some question marks in front of your questions, because after I share some points on 5 tips to amp up your job search, I'm going to take your questions. So get and say hi. I always love to know who's here, who's watching, where you're watching from, and let me know what you do, what you need, and all that good stuff. And if you're in any of my programs, please use a hashtag to let me know so I know what assets you already have at your disposal in the event I need to answer one of your questions and point you to something fabulous inside your premium library. Okay. Great to see everybody. I always love to say hi, and I always appreciate you showing up. I really do. I was just going through my little pregame talk about how much I appreciate y'all showing up. I know you need my help. Anybody that's going to show up in the middle of their day to listen to me must think I have something to offer, so I want to do you a solid. So I do like to say, hey, Rob Brown, what's up, buddy? Haven't seen you from Iowa, as we used to say when I was at the Iowa State University. Adam Stark, good to see you. Liz Day, Peter Lee, Steve, Donna, Loretto, Tiffany, what's happening? And everybody else, Lucinda, great to have you too. Okay, so today I wanted to give you a little talk. It's been a while since we had what I internally call a reminder talk, meaning I'm going to give you some good tips, and anybody can follow along with this. But if you have been following me and you have been watching my videos, whether you come to the live shows or just catch, the Tuesday recordings, or, the little snippets or the shorts that go out every day, or all those good things, these are reminders of things I want you to make sure that you do. If you've been job searching for a while, let's call this like your 3,000-mile oil change or whatever you want. But friendly little taps on the shoulder, which means you got some kind of background with me and my teaching. No matter who you are, you'll be able to follow along. But these will be especially good tips for people who are familiar with the tips I give throughout each of the phases of the job search. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start where you should start, which is with yourself. And step 1 of your job search is not call all your friends. It's not put the open green circle around your face on the LinkedIn profile that makes you look ridiculous. It's not putting a resume together. It's kind of 2 things simultaneously. It's figuring out where you want to go, meaning what you'd like to do, maybe who you'd like to work for, what kind of products and services you'd like to build or support, or what industry you want to be in, or what you think is cool. I'm okay with all that. But the thing I really want you to do is pull together what I call your requirements. I refer to these by a few different names, or, monikers, nomenclature, whatever you want to say. But the things that you need, and the things that you want, and the things that would be really nice to have, so that you could create what I call a virtual environment that you operate within every single day. And I've shared this before, that as an executive recruiter, I did executive recruitment between 2004 and 2019 at a very, very high velocity, meaning we were taking on lots of searches, we were interviewing lots of candidates. And during kind of the first 12 or 13 years of that 15 or 16 year stint, we would gather very specific pieces of information about job seekers, just employees in general, what made them happy, and what were the things that they were looking for in the kinds of jobs that they were taking. And when you think about understanding anything that you buy, anything that you live in, like a house, anything that you choose, you have some kind of requirements. They may be written down. They may be not written down. They may be on the back of a napkin. They may be in an Excel spreadsheet. But the important thing is that you have them, so that you have an inventory of things that you can evaluate to see, does this decision, does this product, does this service, does this person I'm about to marry, so to speak, do they have what I need? And it's very, very difficult when it comes to job searching, because much like marriage, job searching is very emotional. And what we try to do is make it so that you can take some of the subjectivity out of it as much as possible, take a lot of the emotion out of it, so that you can kind of take a step back and really evaluate, does this company, does this role, does this career path really suit me? And so what I would do as an executive recruiter is as I would interview prospective job candidates, I wouldn't even call this part of the interviewing, because this was really me getting to know you. What is it that you want? And inevitably, most people would really struggle with this question, because it's very easy to tell me what you do not want. What you don't want. I don't want a boss who's a micromanager. I don't want to commute an hour to work. I don't want to travel 75%. Right? I don't want to work with mean, nasty people, right? That's easy. Those are problematic. It's front, it's center, it's visible. It's probably very current or very recent. We get recency biases. And as we make job changing decisions to go to new employers, we tend to overweight things that are current and things that bother us, okay? As opposed to what? The appreciation of all the things that you have that are absolutely fantastic in your life. And my guess is, even in your job, even if you absolutely hate it, you probably have equally as many, if not more, things that you actually like about it. But there are certain things, maybe it's a boss or something like that, that is making your life miserable. And I'm okay with you moving just for that one reason, because that's a dang good reason to change jobs. But what I'm not okay with is you completely overlooking, as you make a decision to go forward, all the other things that you need in your life that you may currently have or want, but that you don't really pay attention to as you make the change, because you're so focused on getting a boss who loves you, because that's your sore spot right now. So my reminder, and I'm gonna show you a little illustration of the level of granularity I'm hoping you go to. So let's call this requirements. I hope I spelled that right. I screwed these really fast. What do you want? What do you need? And these are varying degrees, right? Andy, I absolutely must have. Like in my house that I moved in, I absolutely needed an office, because that's my business and I need a nice office to work out of each day. It was a must. It was a 10 out of 10, not a 1 out of 10. What are my priorities? So the office was really high. Okay, the dance floor that I have in my house, I kid you not, was not a necessity. It's nice because I can put my triathlon bike and my road bike and other bikes on it and do my own little spin classes, but I don't actually need that, right? Kind of thing. And then what is it that's important to me in the relation in which it's important to the other criteria? So the office is a 10. The dance floor was 0 or 1. I didn't really need it. And then there's other things like, how many bathrooms do you want? Do you need a fireplace? Kind of thing. Okay. And then what questions do I need to ask the employer in order to determine to the degree to which it satisfies me? So every time you ask an employer questions, you're really trying to answer 2 questions simultaneously. So is this a good company? Like, are they solid? Are they going to be financially stable? Are they still going to be here tomorrow? Right? You need to know those things. But is it a good company, A, and is it a good company for me, B, right? So I need to know that. So my personal preferences go to this list. Now, I mentioned all those people that I talked to as an executive recruiter. We have over 12,000 data points that we collected in the first 12 or 13 years of all the people that we talked to where we engaged and had that conversation. They gave me their requirements, and I inventoried all of that from all of that experience, and I put it in a spreadsheet that's in my job search coaching program. So those of you that are in the boot camp, as I call it, the premium job search members, you have access to this. For those of you that don't, what I'm talking about is inventorying your own, and I'm going to show you what I mean. And one of the things that I want to stress to you is the longer the list, the better the list. And I want to be really clear. The more requirements you have or that you can identify that you would like to have a conversation about, the better. I'm not saying you need to get every single thing that you want. I'm saying I want you to have an inventory so you can get some information so that you can make an educated decision. It's really, really bad if you didn't inventory it, you forgot to ask it, or you didn't have time to ask it and you forgot to ask for additional time, or under duress, it slipped your mind, and you didn't do a thorough evaluation, because the blind spots, the things that where they don't really have a spotlight on them, you don't really understand that information that isn't factorable, is the stuff that's going to kill you. I'm okay with you realizing, hey, I'm not going to get something that I would have liked, but you know what? I'm okay with it because I can get it satiated outside of work. Or maybe I can justify not having that because they are going to pay me more than I was expecting, and I might be able to go buy that for myself, or whatever it is, right? So what I did was I built this spreadsheet that I'm going to show you here right now. For those of you that are in the program, this is called the Criteria and Questions Matrix. This is a public version. I do not give this away. There is absolutely no place on the internets where you can get this, and you'll probably notice that in this column over here where there's 1 and 2 and 3, you're going to see an awful lot of rows hidden. That's because I don't want to show it to you, because I want you to pay for the silly thing. But even if you don't want to jump in the program, this column over on the left, appreciation, atmosphere, autonomy, the boss, challenge, collaboration, the commute, the comp, the contribution, culture, and you see culture has a number of sub-criteria, as do all of these, growth, people, role, travel, and so on. Effectively, what that is those are the top 15 basically happiness factors. So they don't need to matter to you, all of them. Some of them will, but it's a heck of a lot easier when you have something to look at to say, oh yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that, or that wasn't on the forefront of my mind, but now, you know what, now that you mentioned it, I better make sure I get it in my list. And what I coach people to do in the program, and what I would suggest for you to do, is get an inventory of the things that matter to you. Because it's going to, when people say, Andy, I'm going into an interview, what questions should I ask the employer? I'm going to say, what's on your dang spreadsheet? What matters to you, right? I could give you some top pretty cool 5 to 10 really juicy questions that I would ask, like, what does success look like? But I want you to be asking questions around what matters to you. And then I want you to get the answers. And then I want you to evaluate, actually quantitatively, how closely a particular employer satisfies what it is you're looking for. So what we do here is we inventory this. Now, if you don't have the spreadsheet, that's okay. Make a list of your own. And then, but when you get down to appreciation, let's say, for example, and I give I cue the people, does the company recognize and appreciate its employees? I'm just trying to give them an understanding of what appreciation can be. But for somebody like you, now appreciation is much like a love language, if you're familiar with Gary Chapman and the 5 love languages, and there's even love languages at work or all that kind of other good stuff. But basically, my wife has love languages, I have love languages, you have love languages, and you have corporate love languages. Because some people like to be appreciated with money. Some people are like, I'm okay if you don't give me more money, if you give me the dang corner office, or maybe the title, or how about this thing right here's been missing a little pat for a while, right, kind of thing. And so if you go into an interview and you want to know if they appreciate their employees, and you say, do you appreciate your employees? And they say, yes, we do. We make sure we recognize everybody every year. That has not answered your question. That has not shown you, do they actually fit you? What are you looking for? Now, I don't have a problem with you opening up the dialogue that way, but you need to get specifics from the employer. Your inventory of requirements and your inventory of needs then gets broken down. So appreciation to you might be annual pay raises. It might be spiffs. It might be complimentary days off. Just get them on the list. I don't care what they are. And you don't have to get them, but I want you to have a conversation to know where do they check the boxes. Are you asking questions like, on this team I'm joining, when was the last time somebody was promoted? What do you do to recognize good performance? Ask them that, get the answer, and then you can match it to, that works for me, that doesn't work for me. Who's tracking? Can I get a I'm tracking in the chat? Now, if you're in the program, this is something that people absolutely love. And then what I tell them to do is, I want you to rank it, each of your criteria. Now, you wouldn't really rank appreciation. You might rank, do they give me pay increases? Do they give me pats on the back? Do Do they recognize me publicly or whatever? But what you do is you're going to give it the level of importance on a scale of 1 to 10, and then you're going to rate your current employer. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go through your process, and you're going to actually evaluate the different employers you're interviewing with. And so you'll say, okay, employer A, I'm evaluating them, and based on what I know from the interviewing process, they're a 7 out of 10 as far as aligning to my criteria of appreciation. And then you're going to multiply whatever that number is by the weight you gave appreciation, because appreciation to me mattered more than what? How much I need to travel, or whether I have a corner office or whatever. Okay, so number one tip, get this in order. Don't have any blind spots. And then you're going to say to me, Andy, how the heck am I going to get 86 questions answered in my job interview? You don't have to get 86 answered. You need to get the ones that are answered for the ones that are most important to you. And if you get down to the end and you don't have all your questions answered, if you're about to get an offer, which is the only thing that matters, is your choice to work there or not, you can ask for more time. You can clean up what your gaps are as far as your knowledge is concerned, and any employer worth their salt should want to give you that time, because why? I do not want you coming here to work if you do not truly understand what is involved with working here and what you're getting. Okay, I don't want you making a bad decision. I don't want to accelerate this and not give you what you need. That's tip number one. Okay, so tracking like a kraken. Peter, Lee, Lucinda, love it. SB, I know that. Sue, Tanya. Oh, Tanya's laughing at Peter. Danielle's tracking. Let's see. You know I'm not reading the chat in order. Carol, what's up? My VIP. Case, Loretto, Tiffany. Get this in order. Okay, number one. Number two, what would 5 tips be without a resume tip, right? So, and you know what? This is Andy math and how I count tips. This is really like 20 tips, but we group it as 5 because I don't want anybody to, get overwhelmed. All right, so when it comes to the resume, I want you to think about, there's how you write your resume, right? Like the way the bullet's supposed to be structured. And that's pretty good, and we want you to get that in order. The how is fine. That's the fine, F-I-N-E. But the what goes on the resume, even if you were a little sloppy with the how, is what wins the day. And so what do I mean by that? So what a lot of people do is they put on their resume their activities. And in some format, I don't even mind that, because activities that you perform, like I run the customer service team, I create financial reports, right? That gives me an idea of what you're doing. And I don't mind that, but I would like to have a little more context, like how big's the customer service team? What are those financial reports? How are they used? What decisions are made? Kind of thing, right? But those are activities and not really powerful when it comes to selling you. And the resume, as you know, I say, is a marketing document. It is not a work history document. Yes, you use your work history to market yourself, just like I use my work history as an executive recruiter, as analyzing those 12,000 people, as having programs that people come in and crush life with or whatever. And here's testimonial after testimonial. Those transformative messages can be channeled into a communication on the resume and in an interview that sells you. That's all your work history, right? But you don't care that I had to get up at 4 o'clock every morning and build a product in a system that's in a video-based online training program. You like to know that it is, but you don't care about that, right? That there's nothing sexy about it. It's a video. You watch it. I tell you what to do. You go and you do it, right? That's like you telling me I manage the customer service team. It doesn't do anything for me. My emotion doesn't go anywhere. I don't get excited. I don't really care. That's nice that you have it. Check. But tell me what's happened as a result of you doing what you did. So did the customer service team that you managed make the customer service score go up? Did it increase customer retention? Did it increase sales? What actually happened? And so what I want you to always think about are what Andy calls the Great Eight. They're the 8 most powerful goals that any employer, doesn't matter what their business is, there are 8 things an employer cares about. Every single employer that ever had a business cares about these 8 things. And you want to articulate how you helped accomplish those things. But before you tell anybody on a resume how you accomplished those things, these 8 things, you want to tell them what it was you accomplished, meaning what happened, and then how did you make that happen? So by managing the customer service team, that really didn't make the customer service score go up. You did something that then turned the customer service score up. You streamlined the calling process. You reduced the amount of time it took for your reps to answer the questions for the people with the problems who called in on the customer service line, kind of thing. The rest of your life is housekeeping or waste. This is why you have trouble getting your 25 or 50-year work history down to 2 pages, is because you put a lot of stuff that doesn't really matter that I call housekeeping. Like managing the customer service team is housekeeping. It's not the punchline, and it's not what matters. It is a little context, but I would rather know I managed the customer service team, 25 customer CSRs, customer service reps, or something. What did you do? You did everything. You handled the infrastructure, the coaching, everything, the processes that you set up. Great. Okay, that's housekeeping, but it's wasting real estate on your resume. And so what I recommend you do is when you're articulating the company you work for and the position you hold, you get a little real estate on the resume right underneath your title to put the housekeeping in. And if you're having trouble following because I don't have a picture, you can take my free resume template, and not only is the template there, but the instructions are in it. So this is important. Now, my point to all of this is that this Great 8, every resume bullet, every single resume bullet that's on your resume should address one of these 8 things: revenue generation, market awareness, customer attraction, customer happiness, company growth, or events, mergers and acquisitions, divestitures, going public, right, getting acquired, employee happiness, cost reduction, or process efficiency. I'm not going to give you all the definitions and examples of each of these because I have at least 25 videos on my YouTube channel that covers all this stuff. Okay, but I want you to again, tap on the shoulder, reminder, focus your resume on the Grade 8 accomplishments. And if you literally go to the trouble of putting a bullet in front of any text on your resume, it should start with the effect of what happened to one of those Grade 8. Okay? So you increased revenue. You improved customer service by how much? Right? Show a delta. There's always the delta of what happened as a result of you being in place. Right? If you tell me you managed a $30 million unit, I don't know if it was $40 million before you start and you hacked it up and now it's 25% less. Right? So I need context. So anytime I have a question in my mind as I'm reading a resume, that's bad. Okay, so you want to give me as much context as you can. Remember, resist the urge to put all your activities down. People care about the accomplishments. Okay, that's number 2. If you like that one, click the like button. I got 3 more. Okay, this one, you don't really need to be following me for long to know this is my favorite and non-favorite way of going about searching all in one index card here. One 5x8er is going to tell you everything you want to know about what to do and what not to do when you're job searching, the actual search mechanics itself. Now, the top line here, if you can read it, says stay out of the trash. So I call the applicant tracking system the applicant trashing system. If you are applying for a job online, while we don't know what the system is that you're putting your application into, it is endearingly known to me and everybody else as the applicant trashing system, the abyss where your resume goes, where you hear absolutely crickets because it's either not farmed, is not set properly, you're competing against hundreds, thousands, or tens of thousands of applicants, and it's just not a good way to go. And it's not even job searching. It's applying for jobs. They're not equal. So stay out of that. But the second thing I want to give you is the next five things on here, is the sequence in which I would run my job search. So if given a choice, which you all have every single day, I'm going after a boss first, a person in an authoritative position or somebody on the management team that could give me a job. That is your fastest route. It is your best way to, any of you having trouble building your network, it is a way to go from cold to warm super fast. It only takes one email, and I even give you the free template if you want. If you're in the premium program, you don't just get the free templates, you get what I call the Boss Hunting Bible, which is a whole bunch of pages of all the instructions, all the templates to all their 9 or 10 different responses that a boss or potential person that you targeted could give you. But that's numero uno. The second spot, so that's number 2 point on the card, but number 1 in searching. Number 2 in searching, next best thing to do, target a teammate. If you're in the job search coaching program, we have a whole session on teammate targeting and what exactly to say to the teammates and how to go back and forth to build a relationship to get into their company. It's the next best thing. The boss is the first best thing because the boss is always in search of great people, because the boss's highest priority is running an effective team and producing results. A recruiter's highest priority is servicing the hiring officials for which the recruiter has active searches. That's their primary responsibility, which is why recruiter hunting or sending emails to recruiters, corporate recruiters that is tertiary to me. It's third, because a boss is going to look at your resume no matter what. A recruiter who sits here like this, who has the sales team, the marketing team, the HR team, the recruitment team, maybe that's the head recruiter, the accounting team, or whatever that he or she is searching for. If there's an accounting position open and an HR position open and you're a salesperson and you send your resume to me, but the sales exec has not put a open requisition or a budgeted position, open budgeted position on my desk that has asked me to recruit for it, you fall to the bottom. I may not look at yours because I'm so worried about the controller, the accountant who's yelling in my ear, or the VP of HR who's wondering where our benefits coordinator is. Okay, kind of thing. So my priority as a recruiter is going to be to service my internal clients. You want to go right to the person who always cares. And you say, well, Andy, what if they don't have an open position? Doesn't matter. They'll look. You might not know there's an open position. They might trade somebody out for you, right? Hey, I'd rather have you. You look like a 10 to me. I got a 2 on my team. I can't wait to fire, kind of thing. I don't need an open rec to hire you. I could just swap her out, kind of thing. Human resources next, okay? And then another boss. Now, I will give you some liberty here because we're all about flexibility at the Mile Walk Academy. The boss, number 2, like going after another boss, if you want to put that above team, I'm sorry, guys. I'm like backwards in the camera. If you want to make that 2 or 2A, that's okay too. But the tip is stay out of the trash, get targeting bosses. Anybody who subscribes to Andy's boss hunting technique, who wants to chime in about all the great, I know you're out there because I get the emails every day. Searching, number 3. Number 4 is I have a storytelling technique. We're not going to go through the storytelling technique today, but the way that I like to structure virtually every response to an interview question has 4 parts to it. It's not the STAR technique, although there are some components I guess you would make analogous. But you want to provide some context about why what you're doing is important. That's usually the thing that most people miss, and it will give you the biggest bang for your buck as far as scoring points in a story. The next is the overall approach that you took. So not what you were tasked with, not the activities that you did, but the outline of the steps you took, with naming the steps only, and then going back, so you just now created a map for the person. I just gave you the framework of what I'm about to tell you. Great. Now it's going to be easier for me to what? Hang on to the information, and it's also going to be easier for me to understand where you are in your 3-minute story. Okay, so I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then in step 1, here's what I did. In step 2, here's what I did, and so on. And then here's what happened. Now, what you really want to do whenever you tell a story is every story that is ever captivating and will keep somebody's attention has an exposition, and a rising action. A rising action is something that is building up to a climax, but you want them to understand the level of importance. Part of what you're going to give them in the context is that rising action, so they know how important and why this is so critical that you were working on it. So if you want to think of it in terms of the overall framework that I offer, you're going to get the maximum ROI as far as your storytelling is concerned if you start the story with context. That's the C. So I have videos on my channel about my CAR technique, and it's really CAAR. That's why I was a little 2 there. But let me give you an example of what I mean. So a lot of times, and I see this a lot in the people that I coach and prep for their interviews, is you get asked a question, whether it's maybe something on your resume, like, hey, Andy, how did you do that? It says here that you increased something and it looks like you implemented this system to do that. Can you walk me through that? That's one way they could ask you. Or they might say, tell me about a time where you solved a problem where, even though that's a behavioral question, you're still going to give them the format in that CAR technique. Or something along the lines of, some kind of challenge they present, but you want to use an example of a story or experience that you have to explain to them that what you've accomplished is what they need you to accomplish in their environment, even though you did it somewhere else, right? But you're drawing the analogy for them. And so what a lot of people tend to do is they say, like the IT project manager, about who implemented a CRM system, they will, if somebody asks you, well, can you walk me through that project? What most of them are inclined to do is just start with step 1. So I was asked to implement this customer relationship management system. It was a big system. We were implementing it with such and such software, or software as a services platform, or whatever. And then they start going in and they start telling the story. And that's bad because, number one, you didn't give them any buildup. You didn't create any excitement. You didn't put it, if it was, in a pit where there was a big problem or a goal where it's a big aspiration. So you want to start the story with about 20 seconds, maybe 15, 20 seconds of setup and context. We had this terrible issue where we were losing 25% of our customers each month. And to give you an idea, we have 100 customers, and an average customer gives us X millions a year. So we were losing 10 million a year with the platform we had because our CSRs weren't able to. All right, now, you explained the problem, but what you also foreshadowed was the result. Because what happened? You came in with the big S on your chest and the cape, and you fixed everything. So you brought it back to normal, or you did it even better, or whatever. But you explained to them that, right, you're implying all this, right? It was so critical, I was tasked with addressing this. Or it could be, I was helping somebody the other day. Well, and this woman was in Africa. There was a multi-billion-dollar market for certain oil products. Her company was getting 0%, zero share of that X billions of dollars in that location. She was asked to create a strategy and a plan to open up that market. That's creating, right, an aspiration. It wasn't necessarily a problem. It was just that they needed to grow something, right? Build out a team, build out a plan, get together with the government, get together with the suppliers, the vendors, the drillers, the whatever, right, kind of thing. So if you set that up initially, it only takes a few seconds to let them know why this mattered. You are going to score so many points because, number one, it's going to grab them. Number two, they're going to make an assumption that you're important, that you needed to be called in. And number three, without you even telling a story yet, they know you wouldn't have brought that up unless this had a happy ending, kind of thing, right? So don't skip this over. Don't skip over this ever. The context is so important. And I was coaching somebody. I don't know that she's here, and she kind of made me chuckle. Although she was serious about it, but it was kind of funny after she said it. She's like, "Oh, you mean you want more drama?" It's like, well, yeah, I want it to be captivating. Okay, I want the person to understand that this was important. And by the way, your solution doesn't need to be extravagant, because if you handled I have a guy, he just got a job, 64 years old, but we had worked together about a year ago, but he just got a new job now. I mean, he got one then and he got another one now. And he had created this solution where it really was nothing more than an online document management DocuSign kind of solution. But without going in and taking up more minutes on this tip, he basically had a $6 million cash flow issue each month, every 2 weeks, actually. It was $6 million that they could have had 2 weeks earlier. But had they just been able to expedite, streamline, digitize, and all this, the process, they fixed that $6 million product or $6 million cash flow issue. But you don't start the story with, I implemented a DocuSign system, right? You start the story with, we had this collections issue because we were always $6 million behind. Do you have any idea how much interest you would earn on $6 million in half a month, right? Kind of thing. But $6 million you don't have, $6 million you're not earning on it, and so on. So, but the solution was simple, but the value was high. But if you just tell me, well, Andy, I just implemented a DocuSign, you mean like you just bought the product and then just hit the button? Right, well, how does that story sound? Right, kind of thing. Who's tracking with me? Right, you get the difference. Paint the business problem. If you start a story and it doesn't have this silly C in a circle, you're missing out. You're missing out. And you're not doing the interviewers a service of captivating their attention and making sure that they're paying attention to you. Okay, salary negotiation, number 5, because, I mean, like, how could we ever end a 5-set tip without salary negotiation? So, as a total aside, this morning, like, I don't know, it's what, 11:37 right now, so this is like 6 hours ago, 5:37 this morning. I was working on my new salary negotiation workshop. It's a five module program. There's bonuses and such, but it's really great. It's about positioning yourself for success. It's about preparing for your offer, all the stuff you need to prepare. It's about conducting and winning the offer, making the counter offer, and all that good stuff. It's about handling multiple job offers. It's about how you go through the interview process and raise your pay. I thought everything. I challenge you, if you see this, to try to find something that I have not thought of. And the reason I'm smiling is because I want you all to think about this in your life. As I'm going and I'm putting all these slides together and the talk together and the thing that is not going to be delivered for a month, I smile because, number one, I love to refreshen stuff, which is great, right? New iterations. But number two, and in the spirit of Community Appreciation Week, I want you to realize this. And I'm guessing this is lost on a lot of you, but I smile as I'm going through this because it's so much better than my first iteration, because there's a big piece of you all in it, right? You ask me the questions, you show me the scenarios that you're struggling with then challenges me to give you the solution or articulate it in so many variations and subparts, and what if this, and what if this, and Andy, what if this? What do I do? All that's in there because you helped me with that. So I'm totally stoked about that. So that's on a little aside about what Andy does at 5:37 in the morning, but that's coming up November 14th, 15th, and 16th. That's not free, but it's going to be awesome. But some of the things I want to make sure I remind you of when it comes to salary negotiation. You get the offer, don't make an offer. And why do you want to, what I call, catch the offer as opposed to pitch it? See, because when they say to you, Andy, this is awesome, we need to have you in the company, what would you like? What do you want to earn? Do you have an expected salary? What would make you happy? We want to make you happy. Give me a number. Biggest mistake is for you to give them a number of any kind at any time. Why? Because you don't know how badly they want you unless they have solely expressed that, which they don't usually do. There's nothing wrong with, hey, we love you, we want to get you in here. But you don't really know everything that's going on behind the scenes, and you don't really know what they think of you until they put a number in front of you. So number one, resist the temptation of providing them a number. I do not care. I do not care if they are as hot pink or magenta as this wind muff. Say to them, I'm sure you'll make me a great offer. I'm sure we'll make this work. Put something together. Second thing is, in your counter offer, you ask first, okay? You ask first, okay? And then make a counter. And the other thing is, when you are asking your questions, you want to ask your questions so that what? So because when you get the offer in the first place, you don't truly understand it. And when I told you I just freshened up my salary negotiation stuff, in the process of freshening it up, I came up with 50 different, literally 50, different questions that you can ask an employer about an offer. Now, all 50 might not apply to you, but I guarantee you 30 of them do. And then 20 of them are maybe depending on the structure of the offer. So there are a lot of questions and things you will not understand. I coached somebody yesterday she is in dentistry, and she is a dental hygienist, and she had a list of all these bullets that had a whole bunch of things that we actually had to go through, and neither she nor I knew what each one of them was, but could get clarification. We knew what to ask. But so this is complicated. So you want to make sure that you're asking first. And one of the things that asking first does is when you actually ask your questions about the offer, and if you're asking them to the right person, like the hiring official, not the recruiter, or even the recruiter maybe. When you ask questions, and I'm not talking about asking for anything, I'm asking for clarification. I'm not making an ask, I'm asking questions. When you start asking questions, like, well, oh, the bonus is 30%, and how much did that pay out last year? And they say, oh, really only 10, or 0, or only a fraction of the team got it, or whatever. As you go through your array of questions, oftentimes what employers will do is it will make it sound like they're to themselves that the offer is not as good as they initially thought it was once they hear you asking the questions. And in many cases, they will counter themselves before you officially counter them. So I want you to make sure that you're asking your questions. And then before you get to the counter, you need to make sure that you make an argument. A counter is not, I want more. A counter is not, well, in the market, I did my research and they're paying content marketing managers $50,000, not $45,000. That is not an argument. That is intel you gathered that I don't believe kind of thing. You need to make an argument. You make an argument against what? What success looks like, the value you're going to contribute, which means what? If you don't have the success parameters, you can't make an argument. But you want to do that. And then the third little thing I want to mention here, or really the 17th thing I want to mention here, is when you counter, you ask for everything all at once. Meaning, don't accept anything along the way. And while you're asking your questions, do not accept anything or offer them any insight. So if you say to them, hey, on this salary, I see that it's $100,000. I'd want to make sure, how is that paid? Is there any wiggle room on that or flexibility? If I say to you, what do you have in mind? I don't want you to tell them that. I don't want you to say, I'm thinking 110. You don't have all the information yet. You still have 18 questions to ask, right? And then once you get through it and you have all the information and to your best ability, you don't think that you're making any assumptions, even though you still are, but you're making a lower number of assumptions. I want to make sure that then you ask for everything at once. You stack it all together, because the more you ask for it, the more you're likely to get, contrary to what a lot of you think, right? You think you're going to piss them off. That's not true. And it also is incumbent on the way you ask and the way you make your counteroffer, because you ultimately want to turn control over them to figure out the solution. You don't want to give them the solution. You want to give them ideas of solutions. What do I mean? You don't want to say, you need to make that 120. You need to make that bonus 50K. That's giving them the answer. That's forcing them to comply. but asking them for a path to something or a solution that gets you to a number. They know what they have at their disposal, which gives them control. So I want to make sure that you're doing this. There are many, many things to say. There are many, many things not to say, but a lot of you trip on these because you don't realize that you're asking for things along the way, even in the interviewing process. You going and asking for remote work 2 days a week, that's an ask. That's a negotiable piece of information that you actually agreed upon before you got an offer, which means you now owe them one. You want to stay away from all that. You want to go through everything all at once. So these are just some careful reminders when you get to the salary negotiation piece. Okay, that's number 5. It's 11:45, so I need to wrap it because I said 45 minutes to myself. All right, get your requirements in order. If you're in the job search coaching program, you have my illustrious epic criteria questions matrix, which I demoed here. On your resume, focus on the great 8 accomplishments, right? You all do at least 1, if not more, 3, 4, 5 of these things. Next thing is when you search, stay out of the applicant trashing system. Get into the boss hunting. Interviews, don't forget the context. Exposition to the rising action is the context. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out Gustav Freitag's dramatic techniques. Hollywood's been using them. Novels been using them for 1,000 years. And negotiate. Catch, don't pitch. Make no assumptions. Okay? Ask your questions first, then make your count. Well, actually, ask first, then make an argument, then make a counter. And then when you counter, ask for it all at once. Okay? And that's that. Okay, I'm 2 minutes late. All right. So, that's okay. I didn't dry run that. I threw that together and it just came out how it came out, so I'm pretty happy with that. I hope you were too, and if you were, please click the like button if you never want to miss any of Andy's shows or recordings or shorts every day. YouTube, my YouTube channel gets worked every day. There's a video that goes out. Sometimes it's a live show. 5 days a week it's shorts. Tuesday we give you a long format video. So subscribe. And if you are with me here today, we're going to the Q&A. If you are watching this on the recording, I'll see you next week. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. Can everybody give Kara a big shout out for helping me manage this process? She is quite the valuable employee, and every day is Employee Appreciation Day from me to Kara. But you guys give her some hearts, give her some love, and I want to let you know, as part of Community Appreciation Week, don't worry, I'm not going to sell you all the products, although I will say that once a year, and it happens to be this week, is Community Appreciation Week for the Mile Walk Academy. You can get nearly every single product on the Mile Walk Academy website for a lot off. So my job search coaching program, which is my signature job search program, is a couple $100 off the middle package. It's really awesome. And I'm meeting with those members in a private group session tomorrow. They stole your live office hour slot, which was why I moved my live office hours to Wednesday. The job search challenge, which is awesome and normally $4.99, is free if you can make it November 6th through November 10th. Maybe Kara can drop that link to register, because if you haven't registered yet, what the heck you waiting for? It's awesome. I am going to really teach you how to job search. So this card here, I'm going to teach you the primary steps of this card here and how to stay out of the ATS, how to target bosses, what to do, how to build your network, how to consistently search, messaging. I'm going to tell you what to say, all that good stuff. It's normally $500. You get it free because I do that once a year. But the other things that are on the Mile Walk Academy website, like the resume writing workshop, is normally $500. It's now $299. The interview intervention training program is $997, but now it's $497. And let's see, we have a mini camp that's normally $500, job search mini camp. But I also have career development programs. Now, my leadership coaching program is a subscription because it's already pretty dang inexpensive. That never goes on sale, ever. But if you are in the job search coaching program, we do have price breaks for you. If you are interested in career development, that is a great subscription to be in. You can jump in and cancel at any time. But the other things that go along with the leadership coaching, I do have some bonus programs that I sell separately, individually, or they're given as gifts depending on what package you're in my leadership coaching program. I have a goal setting masterclass, which is normally $200. You can get that for $100 off now, and or it's $197. You can get it for $100 off. If you're an annual member of my leadership program, I give you that free. I also have a productivity challenge. That's normally $297. That's $200 off, so you can get that for $97, or it's free if you are an annual member of my leadership program. And if you're wondering what an annual member of my leadership program pays, is $297. So it's like getting everything free. And then the other thing is I have a career accelerator program. It's a 5 modules, crushing your first 90 days, prepping for your promotion, acing your performance reviews, all that other good stuff. And that's $400, but you can get it for $97 right now if you just want it free and clear. Or if you are any member of my leadership coaching program, even a monthly member, you can access that complimentary. So we've got a lot on sale. If you want, you know what, I'm gonna just show you where you can find some of the details. If you, let me see if I'm sure I didn't set this up properly, which I didn't. Give me a second. Let me give you those dang dogs were really, really chasing me before this thing. But up here you can see is the job search challenge. You can find all the details on that. But if you just kind of scroll down, you'll see, if you click the job search coaching program page, you'll see where the discounts are. And then we labeled all the discounts toward the bottom of the programs. The job search challenge isn't on sale because it's free, but all of these things you can check the prices. I would strongly encourage you to check it out. Kara has pinned this in the chat, this main mile walk page. If you're interested in seeing what's inside of any of the products, I do have a couple of them ready and accessible, but you just let me know. That's all I want to say about that. I'll send you an email reminder tomorrow that the sales are gone tomorrow at 11 when I meet with members of my job search coaching program. Okay, let's get into Kara. Thank you for the messages here. Fawn, what's up? Fawn wanted to let everyone know that I am 62 and I just got a job offer for 120 grand. Just wanted everyone to know we can get job offers even if we're older. I hope this gives you older folks hope. I love that, Fawn. You know I love having you as part of the community. One other thing is, as far as older workers go, that guy I was talking about, the DocuSign example, he just got a new job and he took one and turned down the final round of another, and he's 64. And he said he was so happy, and CIO type, and his boss is 40 years old, right? So he's 64. His new boss is 40. And I think he and I, Russ, I don't know if you're here, but I think we're going to do a video case study. Ageism is an issue, and I would never tell you that it isn't. But I in the same breath, I want to say it's not insurmountable. And if you have the right tactics and you're going about this the right way, staying out of the applicant trashing system, staying away from companies that aren't going to value your wisdom and experience, you're going to have no problem getting a job. You won't. As long as you're doing all the little things need to line up correctly, meaning you have to you have to be searching in the right places. You have to market yourself effectively. You need to know how to tell your stories and so on. But I love that you said that, Fawn. I totally appreciate that, and I'm so glad and happy for you. Thor, was it Bjorn? Wait, I'm not sure if that's one word or two, but great to have you. Hey, Andy. Hey to you. I just wanted to let you know I followed all your videos, and after 3 months of long recruitment process, I finally landed my dream job. Thanks for your tips. I love to hear it. I'm so happy. I'm so happy for you. I really am, because I wake up every morning. I'm not exaggerating for effect. I wake up every morning, and part of my morning routine is to read my emails, which is not anything, earth-shattering. But one of the reasons I'm so excited to read my emails is because half of them are from people like Thor and people like Fawn and other people commenting on my YouTube channel and commenting in the Mile Walk Academy system or sending me emails to support about how they just crushed it and got a new job. And I read every word of every one that comes in. Don't think I don't. And you might wonder, well, Andy, why would you spend so much time doing that? I worked really, really hard. I worked really, really hard for that. Meaning I worked really, really hard for the privilege of your attention. For some of you that reach into your pocket and invest in yourself through me in my programs or my coaching, and anybody who watches videos on my YouTube channel and not only watching the video, that's one thing, taking the time to comment, that's another, and then taking the time to comment and tell me a success story or something like this is a whole nother level of goodness. And I'm not missing out on that because that is part of my reflection process to know that what I'm doing is working. That gets me through days. I had a rough day yesterday. I would never complain about that, right? But I got to reflect. I got to go back to these comments. You know what you really want to laugh? I read them in the morning and then I don't delete. I move them into folders oftentimes if they're just really make me feel great. But I don't move them out of my inbox right when I read them. I leave them so that at the end of the day when I go back to my inbox, so I can look at them again. How's that? I want this drilled in my head. I want you to remember this little message here, because no matter who you are, no matter how successful you are, you will never be successful unless you reflect. Now, that means you have to stop what you're doing and then take a step back and look at what transpired. So all that hard work that I spent on that video mattered, or the time I spent to pen it, or the time I spent to write it on the note cards. I want you to think about the things that you do. Don't lose sight of it because you're moving at the speed of your emotions. You need to stop that. It's the only way is to look back and see what happened, what went well, what do I want to change, and watch the way you talk to yourself. This thing doesn't know negative thoughts are negative thoughts. Okay, Adam Stark, a requirement of mine is to just do my contracted hours, not looking to stay late or be on call. How can I investigate this in the interview without seeming like I'm not passionate or lazy? Okay, great question. Love it. And let's genericize this, and then I want to genericize it so everybody has a formula, and then I'm going to give you the specific answer. Okay? So, whenever you want to ask a question of any kind, I call this assessing the employer's behavior. If you're in the boot camp, there's a lesson on this, specifically with 10 examples or something like that. And what you want to do every single time is you're looking for evidence of the fact. You're not asking them, are people required to stay late? What's the work-life balance? You're not asking those kind of questions because you're not going to get the information that you actually need, and you're not going to get evidence of the fact. So you need a multi-line set of questions that helps you ascertain that information. Now, things like, what is it that I want to know? I want to know if I'm going to need to stay late. Occasionally is not a big deal, but on a consistent basis, right? Hey, help me understand, the deliverables. Okay, think in multiple steps. This is chess, not checkers. What are the deliverables? Great. How are the deadlines determined on those deliverables? Because I like to make sure I meet my deadlines. Wait, I like to make sure I meet my deadlines. You're selling yourself into a question that's a negative, okay? This is really thinking in advance, right? Because I really like to make sure I meet my deadlines. How are those set? Oh, well, we work with our customers. We get a date where it's set, and we try to meet it. What happens if we fall behind? Well, it's incumbent upon everybody to do whatever it takes. Oh, okay. Well, I like that because I'm a do whatever it takes kind of person. How often does that happen? Right? Like you're going into and asking them specific, is there any, would we ever push a deadline? Right? So you're going to think about what are the questions that you need to ask in order to determine how something is done. When was the last time somebody missed a deadline? What did you do? What was the last time somebody missed a deadline on a big account, small account, or whatever? And what you're doing, my point to you is, any of you, whatever it is that you're trying to ask. Boss is a micromanager. You don't want to say, hey, dude, you a micromanager? Although that's what you want to ask them, right? Okay, well, how do you, what's your working style? How do you like to work with us, and how do you communicate your expectations? Start them up with the softball, right? Okay, that's great. And are there, is frequent check-ins or not? Or do you differentiate kind of the amount of contact you have based on the person's level of seniority or the duration that they've been here? Like what's an example of how you interact with the most senior person on the team? How about the most junior? Right? You're looking for behaviors from them, right? What is this akin to? What is this line of questioning akin to? They ask you behavioral interview questions, don't they? Right? Tell me about a time when. That's what you're doing to them, reverse, right? If they get to stick it to you, you get to stick it to them, but you're looking for evidence of the fact. And some of you might be thinking, well, Andy, aren't they going to get defensive? No, it's 93% of your communication has nothing to do with the words you're using, right? Albert Morabian's rules of communication, right? 55% body language, 38% is the tone, 7% is the words, kind of thing. So you're designing an approach where you're doing a multi-stepper, and sometimes you might conflate the question and give them two, boom, boom, so that you can keep it smooth. But that's for you to determine. If you're in the program, I give you the questions to do this, the multi-steppers. All right, that's a great, great question. Felicia, what's up, Felicia Elias? What to do when a number of real estate development and construction senior positions have been put on hold after 3 months, or three interviews. Industry issues can't be solved any individual. How to set myself apart. I don't know if you asked me the same question last week. Maybe it was somebody else who's in real estate development. So what I would say to you, and I'm guessing this is exactly what I said last week, is I appreciate that, believe me, some markets are zigging, some are zagging, right? Some are up, some are down. That's life all the time, meaning some of you are going to be in industries that are really thriving while others are cratering, okay? It's just a fact. So what you need to do, and what I assure you of, is no matter what industry you're in, there are companies out there that are hiring. Now, you're talking to companies that are what we call balks. They're creating balks, or they're balking, meaning they're in the process, but then they didn't do anything. They didn't hire anybody. Put the position on hold after you spent time, right? So what I would say to you is, you can't control that. What can you control? Right? The consistency in the reach outs to new organizations. And if you keep what I call feeding the funnel, which is circulating your resume, not applying online for jobs, staying in motion and reaching out to organizations and people and targeting bosses, you're going to be able to overcome this. When you run into problems, in most of the problems in your life, in anything that you do, most of you, your first step in problem resolution is in the wrong direction. When you encounter a problem and something breaks, what most people do is they want to think about how to fix what broke. That's not what I want to do. The first thing I want to do is I want to think about, what was my circumstances, environments, and what was I doing when it was working? Replicate that. Now, one of the things that I absolutely can assure you that trumps all problems is consistency in effort. So what happens to a lot of you, like Felicia, is you get into interviewing processes and you get ticked off because you spend a lot of time and they balk. To which I would say, if you had a lot of what we call bidders, balls in the air, and you keep consistently reaching out to other companies or opening up, tumbling your possibility pool, so to speak, where you are taking a different view on what you do. So you didn't tell me specifically what you do in real estate and development, construction, senior positions, but can that position go after more companies, different kind of companies? Can you go after construction companies or REITs or whatever? Or do you have solution expertise that can go into a different segment? Or what? Like, how do you expand that? You totally control all of that, and you're outreaching. You cannot control their behavior, what they do, when they call you back, if they balk, if they hire somebody else. And a lot of our energy is spent based on things we get engaged with. And I would tell you that every single day of my day, I run like I wish you would run your job search. Every single day, I have three things on my in an array. Every day looks like this. Every single day has short-term, mid-term, and long-term projects on it. I worked on something at 5:30 this morning that will not be delivered until November 16th. I have 27 deliverables that need to be done between now and then for other things. But I know if I don't keep pace, then when I get to November 15th, I'm going to be in trouble. Okay? So there's short, mid, and long, and that's one array. And then the other array is the aspects of my business. There are some things that are built that I do each day that are maintenance items, communications, emails, things I want to write to have dialogue with you. There are other things that are marketing and sales related, right? A new video, a web page that might be selling something, a new product, right? There are other things that are individual related. I have multiple coaching sessions immediately following this. I go boom, boom, right into 2 of them, right? Those are always on my calendar. It's every day. So there's a balanced and a steady diet. Why am I giving you this analogy? Because Felicia, you should have aspects of your job search that are short, mid, and long term. What's long term? Sending out an email, because like if you send it out today, you might not get an interview in an hour. That's longer term. It might be 2 weeks from now. It might take them a week to get back to you, and then you go back and forth, and then 3 weeks from now you have an interview because you did something 2 Mondays ago, kind of thing. Right. Then there's the, hang on, Andy, yes, I can be there on that Zoom on Thursday. Okay, you got a midterm. Now you're going to prep for the interview with Andy. And then what? What's the short term? Okay, I got to get ready for tomorrow because I got to send out 3 boss hunting messages tomorrow because that's consistent. Each one of you needs to plan. Sorry, you don't need to do anything. It's effective if you plan your day short, mid, long, right? And then the balance of the activities themselves. So I do service, sales, marketing, coaching. Like I do all the elements, book writing, blog writing, all those things every day. So that's that. Or if you want to think in week blocks, that's fine too. But I think consistency wins. And the more you touch something, the more you're connected to it, the better your results will be. Do you know, I thought about this this morning. And, because it's a Wednesday, it's not my usual day to be live with you. And I thought about the number of live shows that I do. Actually, in November, like now to end of November, I'm live more days than I'm not in some form or fashion. And I was thinking about like all those other trainers that don't have this kind of dialogue with you. And that's okay. They could write their books, or they could write their blogs, or they could just put their YouTube videos out or their blog videos or whatever. That's totally okay. And that's their style. But for me, I thought to myself, people don't, some people look and they say, well, Andy, you give so much free stuff away. And that's true. But one of the things that you got to understand, and that's really, really important, is that I feel like if we don't have a relationship of some format that is good and maintained, then this doesn't work. And the other thing is there are other benefits to spending the time. First off, do you know how frequently I am doing this and how comfortable it is for me? I don't lose my train of thought. I understand my points. I'm constantly challenging myself to deliver you messages in different formats to see what resonates best with you. I get to test it more. What else do I get? I get data on what's going on in the market. What did I say a little while ago about the refresh? There's a big piece of you in the new product, in the answers next week at live office hours or whatever kind of thing. You got to think about that as you go through your life. The frequency is even better than the quantity, but to stay in touch with the things that you do, to touch them more often, is going to make you so much better, so much faster at your skill sets. So think about that. And I know some of you are saying, well, Andy, hang on, I'm job searching. Yeah, you need a skill set to market yourself. That skill set is lifelong. Now, are you going to benefit from the experience of going through it right now? Or are you just going to try to apply online? Or are you going to be frustrated because somebody's not calling you back? This is an opportunity for you to build skills. And if you're touching it every day, you're going to build them better, faster. And you might make some hiccups, but you're going to notice it faster. And you're going to fix it faster. All right, Steve, my boot camper. What's your average response rate to your boss hunting letters when there are no roles? Very high. Very high. Why? If you're sending a boss a message and there's no open role, the boss is likely to get back to you without question, because why? They're not receiving a lot of messages. They're not reviewing resumes, right? And so I would say, generally speaking, irrespective of the type of boss hunting message you send, meaning you know there's a role or you don't know there's a role, the boot campers average, I would say, between 5 and 10. So every 5 messages you send out to 10 messages you send out. So if you want to say 1 to every 7.5, that's fine. You get an interview. Now, we have some people that get interviews 50% of the time, and some people that get interviews 1 out of every 15 times. But I want you to think about that. Even if you're not average, would you, if you sent 15 messages a week, that's what my job search challenge calls for, 3 each day, 5 days a week. Even if you were half as good as the average person in my program, would you not take 1 interview a week? Right? Ask yourself that. Think about that. So now, the higher up you go, meaning the more senior you are, the greater the likelihood of a response. So the senior people are more like 1 in 5. The lower level people might be closer to 1 in 10. But I have lots of stats that come back because people know I love stats and they hear me say that, and then they send me emails with all their numbers. So if you're in the middle of okay, so we had one guy, he was in the middle of the 14-day challenge. He went 14 straight days, sent 42 messages out, said, Andy, I didn't get any hits. He says, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Why is this not working? Now, I've said to you all that there are many, many things that can be wrong if you're not getting the results that I just advertised. So I said to him, all right, I'll tell you what, there's check these 7 things. I gave him the sequence. Now, at the time I responded to this question in the system, I didn't have a deluxe version of my job search challenge where one of the main modules in the challenge breaks down in 1 hour all the issues and what to do. And there's an overarching aspect, like, are you just set up wrong? Or there's individual things that can be broken in the chain. Meaning, are you targeting the right companies? Are you targeting the right boss? Do you have the requisite skills that the boss needs? Are you trying to make a career change to go into sales and you're a product engineer and you're targeting the salesperson? He's not going to get back to you, or she's not going to get back to you because you don't have the requisite skills. That's a break. Is your resume bad? Is your messaging bad? Right? So this guy, I said to him, I'll tell you what. He says, okay, Andy, I checked all that. Everything's in order. I said, I'll tell you what. Send me your resume. I'm going to open it up and then I'm going to close it right away. And in 1 second, I just want to make sure that I can eliminate this so I could give you a better answer for the third go round. He sends me the resume. Open, close, send back to him. Kevin, it's your resume. It's like, I paid $1,000 for that resume, so I didn't go through your principles, and I figured I was good to go. Tell you what, you review that resume, go through the stuff, use the template, use the scripts, the sentence structures, the samples, make yourself a new resume, send it back to me. Sends it back to me. I go, okay, you're good to go. Go to the 42 that you just did. Go back to them, streamline it, go to the same people, 3 a day each day, 2 weeks. 7 interviews. 7 interviews. So I want you to think about that. The difference. He's 1 for 6. Or maybe it's the other way around. He was 1 for 7, 6 interviews. So, you could have something broken and just not know it. And unless you know how to troubleshoot it, and then all of a sudden his numbers change like that, same people. So it's, I watch this closely. I have been teaching this technique for a long, long time, and I have a lot of data points, and I have a lot of people that I meet with that show me their stuff, and then we look at what happens, and then I'm able to see when we change certain things, what happens. So it's, that's a great question. It really is, and I'm really glad you asked it because I think it gives an idea to people who are out there who are not in the premium program and who don't have access to the Boss Hunting Bible and all this other stuff that, believe me, even with the public stuff, you should be humming pretty good. Is it ALIX? I don't know if that's it looks like Alexi, but not really. I am aware that I will lose my job, but I have at least 3 months before it ends. I'm protected because I'm disabled. I've been sent to home office, an interview coming up, but what now? I'm not sure what you what you mean. When I look at anybody, and we have a lot of disabled people in the programs. We had one woman that I coached that she couldn't get out of bed, meaning like she had to work from the bed, not even like get to the office once a week or a month. I mean, she couldn't leave the bed. And so I know a lot of you have issues where you have homes that are set up where you have advantage because you have your assets there to accommodate any of the disabilities that you might have. But I would literally look for a job the exact same way. You just might need to be, when you get into the process, you need to be communicative about what some of the restrictions are that you need that you need to have accommodated for. And I would try to do that earlier in the process than later, but it also, I don't want to make a blanket statement because certain disabilities are harder to overcome than others. So then you might have to chart a different path. So meaning you might have to look for different types of roles or different types of companies. So the question is, it's a good one, but it's incredibly broad. So it's really difficult for me to get prescriptive about how to answer that. Kara, I'm glad you mentioned this. One thing I failed to mention, folks, any of these products here on the, any of these products here that you see, the resume writing workshop, the interview intervention program, the job search challenge, the mini camp, some people have bought the job search challenge in the past. Any of those programs or the first iteration of the interview intervention program, maybe you got that for $97 or something like that. Any of those programs are included with the job search coaching program. So that big blue card at the top. One of the things that I never want to do is ever double charge you for assets. And because I offer these, what we call point solutions, like just resume writing, just interviewing, just job searching, I never want you to double pay. So if you ended up paying, you get it today and you spend $299 on something. Well, if you want to get into my job search coaching program and we're offering a special at $997 for $200 off for $797, you would only pay the difference. So, about $800 minus about $300. So then you're $500 away. We don't double charge you. Now, if you're in the leadership program, that's a separate curriculum. Those are totally separate assets. But if you're in the job searching curriculum, you can trade up into the job search coaching program. But the assets don't cross over. Meaning like if you don't get credit for leadership stuff to go over to the boot camp, to the job search coaching program. But we have what we call a trade up program. But if you got any questions about this, just email support@malawalk.com and Kara or I will clarify for you. And then, somebody was asking, is the boot camp sum off as well? Yes. So this program right now, this is the boot camp. And it's $200 off the middle package. We have a session tomorrow. We have a session tomorrow. We have a session here, October 26th. And then after the job search challenge, which is November 6th through the 10th, the next week, the 14th, 15th, and 16th is when I'm building that salary negotiation workshop. And I'm building that with members of this program. And then there's another session with only them December 8th. So if you jump into this program now and you get all the stuff, you'll notice, sorry, I don't want to make you dizzy here, but you'll notice that this program that's normally $997 it's probably not the best marketing there, but you get all this stuff. And then I note here, I think I just told you this, you get all these assets in there. So in the event you pay for any of those, we give you credit should you want to enroll in any of these other options. So in the Job Search Challenge, which is a public event, the members of the Job Search Coaching Program will give them priority access on their questions in the Q&A. It is a no-joke 13-hour event. And so, hour teaching a day, there's 20 minutes to 30 minutes in case studies. There's an hour of Q&A. It's pretty good. So it's a great kind of great couple of weeks of access to me. And let's see. Carol, what's up? Got a good question for me here, I'm sure. Resume content / ageism, your thoughts. Having a resume with multiple company versus resume with single only. Last 20 years with single company or last 33 years with multiple companies. I believe I answered this for you in the system, but let me give you color here. With all of you, the first place I start is what markets you best. So, does the 22 years of the single company make you look better? Or I don't know what the remaining 11 years looks like. If you say to me, Andy, I had 11 jobs in 11 years, take them all off. If you say, Andy, I had 2 years and 2 years, and then I had 6 years of a company that's related to what I do, you keep the 6-year company on. If you say I got 5 and 5, the first one, Andy, is relevant. The second one, Andy, is not. So I got like a sandwich. First one's relevant, then not relevant, then 22 years relevant. You put the first one on, you take the second one off. How do you do that? You say additional experience. And so you got a professional experience section. You break it at your 22 years. And then you have another section that says additional experience. Then you put the other relevant company because you chiseled out the 5 years of the second company. You took that off because it was irrelevant. You don't put the dates on the additional experience, so you don't want to be explaining gaps. You just say, hey, I worked prior to the current company I'm at, and the most relevant position I held before that was this. Did you hold any others? Yes, I did. I held this one, but it isn't as germane. That's fine. Okay, that's how you do that. So there's infinitely many ways that you could skin this. What markets you best? What markets you best is the relevant experience. I've told this story before. I started in 88 at Accenture, or what's Anderson Consulting, which is now Accenture, but I had a 10-year run. But all the stuff that I did there was really powerful, and I could crunch it into 2 lines. It takes up this amount of space, literally that amount of space on my resume, but I'm keeping it because it sells me better. And then I went to another company 4 or 5 years, and then I went to another company 11 months, but I'll keep that. I'll keep it all together. I don't care that I'm 57. It markets me best because of the kind of job I'm in an interview for. Okay, that's me. Somebody else who's 57 might only go with the last 15 or 20 years. No career coach should ever tell you employers only care about the last X years. That's ridiculous. If you have experience that you gained 20 years ago that is germane to what I do, I care about it. So there are infinitely many ways to determine what the number of years is that you should put on your resume. The only hard and fast rule I give you on a resume is I call it the cut line. Once you start your reverse chronological order on a resume, meaning that's just a fancy way of saying you put your most recent employer at the top, then your next most recent, then your next most recent, and so on. You decide I'm 50. I want to only show the last 15 years of my 30 years or whatever it is. No problem. Take those 15. Once you make the break, right? So you're going back to 2008. Everything that from 2008 to present should be included on your resume. If you have a hiccup in there of like 10 months, you put it in because it's going to come up on a digital background check. It'll come up if you got a paycheck from them. Okay. So now what? Now what goes below? Whatever markets you best. Right? Do you want to put anything? We had a woman, I did a session with her, and she was in California, and she had about 30-something years of experience, had recently gone back, gotten a paralegal degree, did some paralegal work, had like a middle part of her work experience was paralegal work, but she didn't want to do that anymore. She did this loan processing and some other stuff early in her career at a couple of prominent companies, but it was like, 30 years ago. And then she had a bunch, like 10-year block of paralegal. That was over. Now she went back to school to do something else, but she wanted to get back into the loan processing field. So we just cut the 10 years out of the paralegal stuff. And then we said additional experience, prominent organization, perform loan processing, blah, blah, at prominent organizations such as boom and boom. She got a job in 2 weeks in the field she wanted to move back to. Because why? It was relevant. So the question starts with what markets me best. This and this market me. It isn't sequential. Okay, can you cut it and then be sequential and then take those two and just put them in your resume? It is perfectly acceptable. So I hope that clarifies. And I know there's no way I could have gotten all that in the system. So I appreciate you asking me again. Oh, I almost had my biggest fear of knocking over this water. And I always make sure that before I sign on with you, I have a napkin in case I just spill it. Ooh, that was close. Mohib, sir, how to get a job after a big career gap of 4 years due to family reasons. Cold email and cold calls and any other methods on LinkedIn. What works best in the situation and how to impress the interviewer. Okay, so first off, I'm going to give you a short answer here. If any of you are off for a particular reason, makes no difference. Maybe you were sick, maybe you went traveling, maybe you were taking care of mom and dad or a sick sibling or whatever, child. Just say, return in your career profile on your resume, returning to the workforce after spending 4 years caring for family. Okay? You already explained it. And then I will know why your resume ends at 2019. All the rest of the stuff, meaning what you did, who you did it for, how the skills you have, the accomplishments you have, all that applies. You just have a 4-year gap. So when you're targeting somebody and you're my favorite message, boss hunting, if I reached out to a boss, I would say, I'm reaching out to you because of this, that, and the other thing. I would stay true to my boss hunting format, which you can get for free, so I'm not going to go over it. But in there, I would put, I'm returning to the workforce after a 4-year gap. If you'd like, you don't have to say that, but if you feel compelled to put it in the message, cover letter, or email, and when I say cover letter, I mean email, you can put it in there if you want, or you could just get them to open up your resume and they'll see why it ends at 2019. And then the interviews and all the other stuff, all the tactics I give you that I've discussed in the public, or if you're in a premium class, I don't think you are, you can access those. So that's a great question. All right, folks, I have got to get running here shortly. So I'm gonna look through what Kara has here. Is it Folake? I'm not sure if that's how you say it. Please, Kara put this in here in bold. Please tell me more about the executive job search coaching program. So I'm going to give you a 1-minute overview. I really today, I know this is on sale, and don't get me wrong, I would love to have you all in there if you're not. But if you go to this page, this job search coaching program, it is there are tons of testimonials and beautiful faces that you will see, handsome men and women that are there, and you can click this blue button here that says check out more stories, and there is a whole page dedicated this is a sliver, man. I could be really obnoxious with all the stuff I put in here, but you will see all kinds of people on this page. But I encourage you, I call it my job search doppelganger page, where you will find somebody that looks like you. But it basically is an online, completely video recorded with every asset that you would need for every aspect of the job search. So all those little points I touched on today are in there in spades. You get the tools, you get the templates, you get lifetime access. If you join on the 2 higher end packages, which is the interactive service package and the VIP package, you get online, not just lifetime access, but you get online support where you can ask me questions in the system. So you might hear say sometimes during these shows, hey, you asked me that in the system. That's what I mean. Carol had asked me a question about a resume in the system. So I typed in the system and I answered a question. But we also have those live group coaching sessions that I mentioned, October 26th, which is tomorrow, November 14th, 15th, 16th, December 8th. We do over 2 dozen, actually closer to 3 dozen of those throughout the year. Every year you can come to those forever and ever until I die. It has every imaginable aspect that is broken down for every stage of the job search, everything you can imagine, extra goodies. It has, the live coaching dates that are upcoming. We usually put them here so you know when they are. You can look at what's in the packages. This one here, much like I have a trade up program, this applies here. So if you jump in and get in for the $797, which I think is a phenomenal deal, I know it's $800. I get that. But what it's going to do for you and the ability to be supported in the manner in which you are supported, the amount of time I invest and spend with you to coach you, it's worth it. It's a steal at that rate. You could always upgrade and add things, and you don't even need to upgrade to the VIP. You could add a la carte, additional coaching sessions and things like that. I do one-on-one coaching, and I do resume reviews if you need that. I give you a price break if you add one of these. I give you a price break on your first service, which means a resume review or a coaching session, if you take it when you immediately check out. If you forego it, it's $50 higher. So I do those. I give the members of this program a discounted $500 rate per session or per review, meaning a resume review or the coaching sessions. But if you take it at checkout, you can get one for $450. But it's a really, really good program. There's tons of success stories. I mentioned this part if I'm a member of something already, like the resume workshop. Can I apply my dollars? Absolutely. I never want to double bill you. And sometimes we have people that just go purchase and then we email them back and say, hey, we looked at your account. We owe you some money back. Can I return the program? I do not anymore allow refunds on the 2 higher packages because of all of the online time I invest and all of the group coaching and all of the other assets that you get. If you want to take the self-study and you don't like it, you can return it within 30 days. I want to be crystal clear here. I do not offer refunds on the 2 higher packages. If you are not sure, don't get in. Save yourself the money, save yourself the time, save me the grief of explaining that to you later. I stand behind what I offer. If you work the process, you will get hired, period. Hard stop. So there's been 10,000 people through this. There's some FAQs. There's loads and loads of testimonials that are out there in written and video form, and 1,000 of them that I've never showed you. So I do appreciate that. And by the way, if you have any questions, we are happy to answer them. And just email us at support@milewalk.com. We do have a coaching session tomorrow at 11. I do drop all of those. I don't know if I have this. I do have this product up. The coaching sessions that we do each month, I put them in the product. So you get this product. This is what the inside of the product looks like. And this is the streamlined version. This isn't even the entire library that you get. But there's a section in here. There's case studies. Here you go. So like tomorrow, we're doing a coach. So we just did a coaching session on October 13th. And that coaching session is in here for anybody, whether they have the self-study or whether they have the interactive package or whether they're a VIP. But the interactive package people and the VIPers, they could come to the session. And then all the questions that I answer are in there. And then, we kind of break all this down for you and the system's searchable. But there's a whole inventory of these group coaching sessions. So tomorrow's session will be dropped in there. Now, the 14th, 15th, and 16th, we're going to have a product in there. Your library, I don't know if I can get it real quickly, but there's a library that you can, let me see if I can, my library. Let me see if I can do this. Here we go. So when somebody logs in, they would have products like this. And then the people who buy this job search coaching program would also have the resume writing workshop, the job search challenge, the intervention program. All this stuff will be in there. All those mini camps will be in there. All of the interview intervention book, first 90 days is in there. This is what your library would look like, aside from maybe the first few cards that you saw. So it's a really, it's really full. It's full. And I'm thrilled to bring it to you, and I believe that it will make you successful, but you need to invest the time and you need to invest the money. So, but I'm happy to answer any questions. I do need to get rolling. Email us at support if you got questions. This will stay up here so you can watch the replay of this. If you're in my job search coaching program, I'll see you tomorrow. And then any of you that are interested in any of the programs, just check out the Mile Walk Academy site, or if you're on the email list, click the links in the email and it'll take you to the appropriate pages. All right, you know I love you all. Community Appreciation Week is really every week. This week is really kind of like special pricing week, but I love y'all. Be good. I'll see my boot campers tomorrow. Take care.